Hey guys, servus, it's Tim. I hope you all are very well, and today we will make one of the best sub sandwiches you will ever get. Finally guys, we will make a delicious meatball sub sandwich. There's a lot of stuff that goes into the sandwich and I will show you everything. Cheesy meatballs, a thick flavorful tomato sauce and also homemade pesto. And yeah, I'm gonna bake the bread myself. Let's do this.
I will start with the worst part, the baking. For me at least, I'm actually not the best baker. So when I can do this, you can easily do this. My main reason for baking the bread myself is that most of the bought sub sandwiches are very soft. But I personally love a crunchy texture to my bread. We're gonna start by mixing 220 ml milk along with 1.5 tablespoons of honey in a pot. We cook until the honey is dissolved. Now take it from the heat and let this cool down.
This step is important because the yeast will die at a temperature of 120 Fahrenheit, which is 48 Celsius.
Mix until the yeast is dissolved and then let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes. While the yeast mixture is sitting, in another bowl give 400 grams flour and salt through a sieve. After resting, add the yeast mixture to a bowl and start bringing it together with a fork. When this is slightly mixed, add olive oil and then combine everything with your hands until this is firmly combined. You're gonna take one of these clean kitchen towels, put it under cold water and cover the bowl. Next is to let it rise for 1 hour. After the resting time, give the dough onto a working surface and knead the dough for another 10 minutes. The dough just looks pretty good, right? Flour or grease the bowl, let it rise for 30 minutes. Cut into 4 optional pieces, stretch it a bit, applying pressure onto the dough. Knead one piece after another and try to do your best to close the seams on the bottom. I made 3 thicker and 1 longer thinner bread portion just for testing reasons. Cover with a damp cloth and let it sit for 20 minutes. Preheat the oven to 400 Fahrenheit or 200 Celsius for 20 minutes.
After rising, we have to cut into the dough, which is super important. These slashes provide a vent for the air to escape while this is baking and our loaf will open up. This is also known as the oven spring, and without this, the gas will look for the weakest spot to escape, which could be anywhere.
To pimp this bread a bit up, I want to prepare a seasoning which I will toss onto the bun. This is super simple. Mix 3 tablespoons grated pecorino, 1 tablespoon of dried oregano, 1 teaspoon thyme and 1.5 tablespoons of chili flakes. In your oven, place underneath a small cup or pan with water to generate steam. Then you're gonna bake this for 8 to 10 minutes. Then reduce the heat to 340 Fahrenheit or 170 Celsius and let this bake for another 20 minutes.
In this time, let me show you how to prepare fast pesto, which I think is necessary for every Italian sub sandwich.
Into a high container, 4 parts of basil and 1 part of parsley. You're gonna season this with salt and pepper. Use 2 cloves of garlic. Pine nuts make the pesto a bit creamy. Parmesan is very common, but I use pecorino. I will mix this up with a hand mixer. Slowly drizzle around 150 milliliters of olive oil. I pour everything into a plastic container. Storage life is about 2 weeks. But it can be 3 weeks when the cheese is more mature.
Let me show you a little trick when making bread. Give the bottom of the loaf a firm knock with your fist. When you can hear this, you know the bread is ready to go.
Just look how super soft this is, and the crunchiness is also no joke. For me, this is the perfect sub bread.
Before making meatballs, you have to understand meatballs are not just meatballs. I mean, they are just meatballs, but you can make them with mincemeat and salt and then they're done. Let me put it this way. You can make another variant with some pecorino cheese, guanciale, roasted vegetables and 1 secret ingredient which I will show you later in the video.
To make this umami bomb, you're gonna finely cut shallots, celery, carrots, a leek, and I use some leftover stick celery which I had in the freezer. Also 1 clove of garlic. Everything goes into a mixer and blend until it's very fine. After that, we're gonna take a big pan or pot and pour in olive oil. We're gonna sweat our vegetables with medium heat in the pot. After 3 minutes, we add some tomato paste. Don't let this burn. And then 5 minutes in, I will take 4 tablespoons out, For the meatballs, glaze this with the red wine and you can see how the vegetables will soak up all this liquid. Fill this up with a tomato sauce and then we go in with a blender. We only use this a little bit. I don't want the sauce to be too fine. I want it creamy and thick. Also, this has another texture compared to the meatballs, which I really like. We're gonna toss in some fresh basil and the hard leftover edge of a parmesan piece. If needed, a pinch of salt.
This old parmesan edge will give a lot of flavor to the sauce. This will deepen the umami flavor. I bet you will love it. And now it's time to make the best meatballs you will ever have.
My first secret is the all ciabatta bread, and this will make it a lot softer. Cut the bread and soak it for 3 minutes in warm water. Take a big bowl and start with 750 grams of minced meat. Our beautiful vegetables. Put in the sieved bread, 180 grams of pecorino cheese. By the way, I think you can't use too much pecorino, but that's just my opinion. Now for this part I usually use 150 gram of guanciale or pancetta, but our Italian shop had some renovation work, so I used some of my homemade smoked ham, which is not traditional but also very good. Season with a lot of parsley, salt and pepper. 1 egg along 2 tablespoons of breadcrumbs. Then what is left is to bring this together. Of course you're gonna remove every eggshell. It's time to form the meatballs and they should have a diameter of 4 centimeters. Wet your hands so you can easier process to make the meatballs. First I will put them into the oven for 15 minutes. And guys, don't mind that one meatball that is missing. It was delicious. Now just look how juicy and soft this meatball is. Every single one of these meatballs goes into this delicious sauce. Slice this beautiful bread open, some nice tablespoons of the sauce on top, 3 meatballs, and for last, your favorite type of cheese. I used some smoked soft cheese. Also I thought, why not put the bread seasoning on top of this? And then I just give it into the oven until it's melted. Finish with pesto over the cheese and toss on the bread. It's a bit burnt, but otherwise I think this looks fantastic and I don't mind these roasting flavors. So let's cut this open.
Wow. I appreciate you for watching this video. Thank you so much. I see you in the next one. Bye.
I have no idea how this pesto got onto my pants.